Hey, what's up? I just got out of Midnight Special. It is the mid-afternoon, and I don't use this moniker for many movies. Midnight Special is perfect. It's weird to say that after a movie, you already know it's a classic, but with Midnight Special, I was watching it thinking, I'm going to show my kids this in 20 years. So I hyped that to hell. What's this movie about? It's about a dad named Roy Tomlin, and he's played by Michael Shannon. You know him as General Zod from Man of Steel, and his kid Alton. Alton, I believe the kid's name, and if I'm wrong, I'll put the name up here. The kid's name is Jaeden Lieberher. I think that's his name. If not, you'll find that up here. Oh, by the way, with this one, I don't necessarily want to say spoiler alert, but I will just in case something happens. I'll give my sum up and my rating out of 6 stars. Let's go right under my mustache here. Click on this time code right there, and you'll be able to see that. Roy, the father, and Alton, the son. And the son has supernatural powers. He's very sensitive to electromagnetic waves. He can pick up FM radio. He can access himself to satellites in the sky. And he's hearing voices and seeing images from some other dimension or world. We're not really sure what it is. And whenever he sees these images from another world, his eyes will just shoot these giant beams of light. And, you know, there are times when someone will be facing him and he'll trap them in the beams of light, and they'll see the images he sees too. He can't go into the sunlight. When he goes into the sunlight, the episodes of light get more severe, and so you often see him wearing these goggles, and in order for him not to receive any incoming frequencies, they have these giant orange headphones put on his head too. I'm sure there's gonna be 1,000 geeks cosplaying their little pale black-haired kids. Roy and Alton are helped by Roy's childhood friend Lucas, who's played by Joel Edgerton. If you don't know Joel Edgerton, he was in The Gift, Black Mass. He was Ramses, I believe, in Exodus, Gods and Kings as well. Fantastic upcoming actor. One of our best. These two men and Alton, they're on the run from all these different forces, also while they're trying to figure out basically what the hell is going on. The FBI gets a hold of it because he's accessing some, you know, top secret information, nuclear stuff, government secrets, yada yada. And so the government's chasing after Roy and Alton. In the government, there's the FBI, but they've also brought in an analyst from the NSA. His name is Paul Sevier, and he's played by Adam Driver, who played Kylo Ren in the newest Star Wars. And Driver, as the analyst, he's kind of a nebbish nerd type. And so he's the one who's basically looking at all these coordinates that the NSA is basically finding out that the kid is taking, or the kid is transmitting. It's not entirely clear. I think the kid, whenever he accesses certain databases for coordinates, the NSA can track that. So they're tracking, you know, where this kid is going, and he's using coordinates and frequencies. He was raised in this kind of religious cult. The cult, who have been dealing with this for a couple years, they think that he's some sort of prophet, some sort of messianic figure, and he keeps repeating the date, Friday, March 6th. And the religious cult take that to think that that's Judgment Day. The leader of the cult sends 2 men to hunt down Alton. And so, along with Paul Sevier and the FBI guy on one side, you've got these 2 henchmen tracking Alton. And the government thinks that with his secrets, he's a weapon. And the cult thinks he's this sort of savior. And so, what I've basically come to think about Midnight Special is, what would happen if Superman came to Earth, but Krypton was never destroyed? The movie's directed by Nichols. He did Mud, one of my really an underrated film from, I think, 2012. An intense drama, and I think Nichols is good at this. He's good at making, I hate to say the word, it's not gritty. In a sense, he makes movies about real life. And with something like this, even though it's sci-fi, he approaches it with this realistic look. And I think what really helps in this film is that you aren't explained everything, but you're explained enough. You're given just enough details to figure out what's going on. Michael Shannon in this film, let me just go into performances here. Michael Shannon, intense as always. He's always had those great eyes that can convey so much with saying so little. And he's ferocious, he's determined, he's basically got one mission, and that is to protect his son from everything. Edgerton just basically serves as us, as the straight man by which we see most of the things through. We see a lot through Roy's point of view, but in order to help ground the film, Lucas is the character that basically says what's on my mind. There are scenes whenever Alton, he gets these flashes, and he gets extraordinarily weak. I really like the makeup job here. He's gaunt as hell. And, of course, I'm thinking something like, this kid's about to die, he needs medical attention. And then Lucas will express my thoughts, and then Roy will say, no, we just need to get him to, we need to keep going, we need to follow the location, and in 3 days, he's Lieberher. Again, if I'm saying that wrong, if I'm getting the name wrong, I apologize. But Lieberher is an extraordinary young talent. I mentioned Michael Shannon has the thing with the eyes. The kid has a way with his face and with the way he says dialogue, and I'm not entirely sure if this is Nichols' direction. He worked with Ty Sheridan as, I believe, an 11-year-old, so he's got experience with kids. But the way this kid conveys information, you believe that, one, he's a little kid. He's not just spewing science mumbo-jumbo. This is a real kid. He reads comic books. He actually reads Superman comic books, which kind of brings the metaphor in my head. But he reads comic books. He makes jokes. He's basically this cute little kid. But there are scenes in here when he's when the government eventually finds him and are interrogating him. There's this scene where it's just a white wall, and the kid wearing goggles in the middle, just staring daggers into the camera. The government lady's trying to talk to him, this child development counselor, and he just stares into her eyes and goes, "Paul, I will only talk to Paul Sevier." And this kid's just stare. It's creepy. It gets really creepy. And, you know, everybody leaves the room. It's only him and Paul. And then you see on the monitor next to Paul that there's some static going on. That's the monitor is just a camera pointed at Alton. The monitor flickers this static, and then suddenly you see that the kid got up. And the kid needs to be intense, and when the kid needs to convey that he's getting these flashes from essentially another world, he's fantastic in it. I really hope this kid has I want to see him in more movies. I really hope this kid continues on his path. They're going to the mother's house. She was brought into the cult but escaped. And she's played by Kirsten Dunst. And so, you know, they go over to her place and she joins up with the family, and she You don't get a lot of information about her either, which all you basically know is that she's living on her own. She still kind of has the influence from the cult. The cult, all the women wear really long braids. They never cut their hair. And they wear these sort of Puritan-esque monochromatic dresses. And you can see that kind of influence on her. Little touches in production design that give you insight into the characters without basically saying, I escaped from the cult, da-da-da-da, I escaped from the cult, he is my husband, he was in the cult, blah, 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 blah. They don't go into a lot of exposition. This is mostly done through visual filmmaking. Kirsten Dunst joins up with them, and the way the government, and basically they're just going on this road trip. It's a road trip movie full of fun adventures. There's a time whenever they stop at a gas station, Alton gets a flash from the sky, decides to, you know, just hop out of the van, even though there's a nationwide manhunt for him. Stares into the sky, sees a little flash of light. Then a meteor storm happens. It's not a meteor storm. The kid brings down a government satellite. He just stares at it, does some electric mumbo-jumbo, and just blows up this gas station by sending this satellite crashing down to Earth. There are scenes in here that, honestly, true to God, caught me off guard. And I really like that about this film, that because they don't give you a lot of information, and because Jeff Nichols has really grounded this to the point where outside of the kid, outside of Alton, the rest of the movie is just real life. And so suddenly you'll just get a random satellite falling out of the sky and go, whoa, what the hell? I think that this movie is the kind of film that J.J. Abrams has been trying to make. I see a lot of Super 8 in this. I see a lot of the same kind of filmmaking with Cloverfield, where Abrams, as some of you might know, he's basically a Steven Spielberg disciple. He borrows the lens flares. He borrows making science fiction. In the case of Super 8, science fiction in the point of view of kids. Very much a Spielberg thing. But whereas his films, I never quite think got that sort of wonder and mystery that Spielberg did, Midnight Special does in spades. You're constantly just in awe of what's going on, and I find myself not knowing whether to be scared, whether to be happy, whether to be comforted or worried. The movie fluctuates between all of this, and it works so well. And these characters work so well. These characters feel like real people, and so, like they're drawn on the ride, we're drawn on the ride. So you may be wondering, Daniel, where'd you get the Nerds Row? And, where'd you get the new location? Well, I was about, probably, 20 minutes in to the review, as you could probably see. And the camera shut off. I panicked, as any good videographer would. Turn around, battery exhausted. So I took my happy ass over to CVS, Walgreens, pardon me, and bought a shit ton of AA batteries, and while I was there, got myself some breakfast. So pardon me for the interruption. Let's get back onto it. It's science fiction in a manner that I think works best. I think hits home stronger with people whenever science fiction is basically about the world is moving and should we move with it. I think that's one of the questions this film asks, is that, you know, with these flashes of light, with this boy, you know, what do we do? How do we approach it? How do we talk about it? How should we dissect him? Should we study him? Should we worship him? And all these figures, I think Midnight Special has sort of an optimistic look at the future and look at, you know, strange events, to where really all we have to focus on is not the change that's around us, but the people involved in that change. Though Alton has these flashes of light and these crazy powers, he's a sweet kid. He's a sweet, respectful kid. Even though Alton is this sort of harbinger of chaos and confusion and mystery and wonder, I think we figure out how to feel just based on him. You know, he's not bad, and he's not, you know, he's not evil. He doesn't mean any harm. I think this movie is saying that when change comes, when the mysteries of the world start beginning to unravel, mysteries of the universe really begin to unravel around us, that the people in the center of it, it's all about them. That really change, I don't think change is as monumental usually as we think it can be. That all we have to really focus on is just the simple facets of life, you know, family, a father and his son, love. I think that kind of argument is what Christopher Nolan wanted to do with Interstellar, but I don't think he got it quite across to everybody. I think it might be better achieved here. That these facets of human experience that we revere, those are the lenses by which we should view change and mystery and the outside world. And if we focus on that, I think the movie's saying that we're gonna be alright. I think that's about it. Midnight Special, it is one of those few movies that I really can say is just perfect, beginning to end. You've got the best performances out of Shannon, Edgerton, Dunst, and Jaeden Lieberher. I'm gonna feel really bad if I messed up this kid's name, that I'm gonna have to, like, point back to the name, and it's probably gonna get bigger the more I screw it up. But, oh, this is there. Continuity. I don't have one of those. I don't have a script checker for this. We're doing it live. But, yeah, you've got sci-fi that is subtle, that is smart, that really brings to question just how we experience the world, even though it's rapidly changing around us. It's a strong, powerful film. And if I'm distracted, it's because my parents just pulled in. They're staring at me as I'm talking to the camera. But, Midnight Special, just a future hallmark of what science fiction films and what science fiction in general should and hopefully will be. And I've been waiting to break out this review. Midnight Special, out of me, gets a 6 out of 6 stars. It is the best of its kind. So, yeah, that's about it. I've got to go work in about 30 minutes, and I got to finish breakfast. So, if you liked it, please give this video a like. In the comment thread, I will be doing spoiler-friendly comment threads, so feel free to just ask me anything about the movie there. If you want more content, subscribe here. Subscribe. Where the hell is that? It'd be down this way, right? Down past my armpit in the bottom of the description. Subscribe to HalfKocked Productions. We'll be having more after credits stuff. We'll be trying to start this new show called HalfKouched. It's going to be kind of just us sitting on the couch rambling about video games, movies, the news of the day, strange and wonderful things that have happened in the world around us. I'm the Man Without a Plan. Thank you all for watching, and take care.